Good afternoon. T-Speaker 222 XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM and Future Digibud OG. So we're crashing. This is why I said earlier with the XRP, with XLM, I never get mad at anybody for taking profits because this is what can happen. And now you've got an opportunity here when we find the bottom, which I don't know if we have yet because we've got some ways to go now, possibly. But like earlier with Doge, I had briefly dipped into Doge, and when we started coming down, I had to saw it. It went down to under 26 cents real quick, bounced back up to about 26.40, and I was barely down. And when you look at the board, it's like, I'm done. I'm out. Because I'm not going to sit through Bitcoin doing this. That's why I have a quick trigger finger, and that's why I don't apologize for how I had to get out of Matic real quick overnight. I wasn't willing to sit in it because this is what was possible. This is why I talked about it earlier. And if you look at the members exclusive, we had a update, which you guys all need to watch it because I absolutely nailed what was going to happen before all of this happened. And that's why you need to be a part of Tom's Army. I put this out there, and even after that video uploaded, while I was recording it, right after I started uploading it, all this started hitting the fan. And it was pretty crazy because now even after it uploaded, it's come down from 65 something, and it obliterated everybody. Now we're looking at Matic, and now you guys can see why I was talking about the way I did with Matic. It's relentless the way this works. And I talked about in the exclusive area how we were creating a hook. And at the time it was at $1.85, and I thought it was going to come down to about the $1.65 range. It blew right past that. I even threw a pass down there to $1.65, and I missed. I undershot the receiver because he went way down the sideline. But this is why I never apologize for maybe getting out of a position too early. That's 17.46%. And with Doge, I had a plan that fell through right away because my plan didn't account for Doge popping down through the trend line. So the moment it fell down to the trend line, well, we see this, and then you've got opportunities and you got problems. So I'll show you exactly what I did and how I played it. I didn't panic. But the way I played this, it's pretty simple, and it's something we all need to get on the same page with because you're all going to be in the same situation many times like I was. So I bought in right around here at 26.82. Well, my plan was if it came to the trend line to buy it. Well, it came to buy a little bit more. It came right down through the trend line, and I'm sitting there, and it's at 25.47. I didn't sell there because I knew it had to have a hit job. Right when it got up to here to 26.44, I was out quicker than you could ever believe. I seen 26.40. By the time I sold, it was up to 26.44. I was out. So the loss, yes, it could have been far worse, and this is what we need to learn. You can't overjump the gun. I was initially down 4.96%. Sure, I would have saved myself another 4 or 4.5%, but by not jumping the gun, when we came down, actually I was down like 5%. I came back up, and because I had the wherewithal to know that we were going to get some kind of bounce, I only cost myself 1.38%. So triple. I saved myself triple my portfolio, what I would have lost. Now, if I wouldn't have done that, not only did I save that, but now I'd be down 12.39%. That's the importance of having these stop losses and knowing a plan. Because this can happen quickly. It's crypto, and this always happens. I always say, once you see XRP and XLM run, a crash must be right around the corner because they are literally the last ones to run all the time. Now, I would expect to get some kind of a bounce back. As you can see, we should get some pretty quick, healthy bounce backs, but we got to play the process now. I would say keep an eye on Matic now. This is absolutely a steal if this ends up holding these levels. I don't know what's going to happen because originally when everybody was buying, now we got to see if this is support resistance. And it could be very much just a wick pull down. But as you know, we like to retest these areas when we hit a huge drop. So I know we're all over the board right now, but I'm trying to keep us all updated. And we're trying to learn lessons as we go on why we need stop losses. This is the best example I can give you. And I wish everybody was a member of Tom's Army because I gave a beautiful update on the explanation of Matic about the hook it was creating before this ever happened. And now Bitcoin came down to the 2 hour. Well, my problem is now that we're running through the moving averages, the 2 hour is great. But if the 2 hour doesn't hold, you know we're going down to the 4. And we've still got 3 hours and 31 minutes. I mean, this isn't exactly the way you want to end a 4 hour segment, but it leaves enough time to where Bitcoin could theoretically rally back, and this is just a blimp on the radar, and we didn't close a daily. But this doesn't seem like that to me. I was talking to Stacy, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I was going to buy back into Matic. I decided not to at $1.70, $1.75. And I said I can see it coming down to this 160. I had this drawn out yesterday, $1.60. But it, guys, this isn't the way I had it planned, though. I was planned, you know, it's like when everything starts to pull down like this, now it's time. You open up the playbook, and now you don't need to go in Matic. You can go in whatever one you want. Whatever your heart desires is where this playbook starts to play out. Because now, if this holds, some of these are creating some fantastic hooks in their pattern. And I would keep a big eye on Filecoin. I don't talk about it often, but I'm telling you guys, even with this pull down, it created enough room to where it just came back to the trend line. To me, this is one to keep some serious consideration on, especially if it comes back to that $55 mark. But a lot of these, the other reason why you need to watch members exclusively, I did a phenomenal one on AVE when it was at $335 just an hour ago, 2 hours ago. And I said my fear is it's going to come down to $285. Now, there's a lot of things, or $288. Look how close that came. And that's why I don't know if it's done yet, because there was a gap to 288. So to me, can this be a continuation further to the downside with some of these? I don't know. It certainly looks like it could be. But we definitely got to see how these next candles go. But there's been a nice rally on some of these, like 294 back up to 306. You got Bitcoin coming back to 65, which was, we're going to start to retest this last drop point. And we did this before, so now we got to see, is it the exact same thing happening here? We had a reversal candle, but we didn't have the struggle in between. We kind of just came up. We didn't go up any higher. I mean, if this doesn't go up any higher here in the next 41 seconds, this is a bad sign, because the 3 minutes is starting to put some confluency in here. And now you've only got a top push, and that's a consecutive candle in the 3 minutes, so that's starting to build a picture. So does that mean now we're dealing with 65,000 right here, basically? This area, that's why we need to get a push. Although it didn't really push up where we needed to push a little higher. At least stay over 65. A little bit higher. Okay. See, that gave you a little bit of a push at the end. That's all I was saying. Because now we got to see, are we playing with 65,000 as support or resistance? Because if this hooks back through, this would be a nightmare. But I'm not necessarily, I don't know if that's going to happen. I think this could be, we're testing the moving averages right now. We got to come back to 66,893 in the 1 minute. But if this is going to correct, I would expect it to come back and retest 62,991. When you have a big bounce like this, you would try to find strength in somewhere to have a reversal. So we had a nice bounce, right? So let's say we have a nice bounce. We come up to the blue moving average at 66. Typically, you would come back down here and have to retest that. You get something like this on this support resistance, and then it would come back down, likely. So you're down, starts to create this M, run out of steam, come back down here, and then you'd be able to, if it does that, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Start looking and don't overjump the gun unless you know exactly what you're doing and you have a plan. But obviously, some of you guys have bought stuff, and there's opportunity in the water right now. Just make sure you know what you're doing, because we haven't come through any moving averages for the most part. Like, Matic hasn't even come through the short-term moving average. We're fighting them now. When I say the short-term moving average, guys, I mean the short-term moving average. We haven't come through the 20-day yet. So if the 20-day is being used as resistance, that means we're buying time to come back down. I think we have to do the W on this. I can't be certain, obviously. But we could do the W reversal here. And I know it's been almost 10 minutes and we haven't talked about XRP. But the whole point of this is to get the feel of the market. And now we're going to go into XRP real quick. So if you ask me, XRP had a nice rally. We talked about the $1.13, how we could come back here and test resistance. Now the question is, though, with the way this built, is this a flash in the pan? Like a flash in the pans? Or are we actually... Okay, we came up. Did this somehow create a head and shoulders on us? Like this. Did it? Honestly, that's what I want to know. Could that be what's happening with XRP? We wouldn't necessarily get that. We won't get that bounce in the 4 hour on the right shoulder until we get some of these shorter time periods. So right now we're doing the work. Are we going to do something like this now and be able to do some kind of reversal here? Or do something like this? Or even something like this where we come across and then come back down. If you see it bounce like that again, buy. If you see a bounce on this level at XRP at $1.13, you're going to probably 125 minimum. I think this is the play. I know if we try to finagle and squeeze and moan and beg and choose. But sometimes, you know, but I see a lot of questions. Am I getting out of... Hold on. I'm already out of Matic, John. It's in the members exclusive area. I literally have talked about this a couple times today. I've been out of Matic since about early AM. As I've stated, I was going to bed, and I got out of it when it was crossing through $1.80 for the second time, because I didn't want to be in a position when I woke up like this. But if I was still in Matic, there's no way I would sell it now. I mean, if you wrote it all through that. But their stop loss is $1.75 we talked about. You know, so no, I'm not in Matic, John, and I hope you played that accordingly, because these drops can be brutal. But watch the members exclusive video, John. I did one specifically for that before this drop. So, like I said, that's what we're looking at with XRP. So we're looking for a potential pullback down to $1.13. We don't know how high up this part's going to be, but if it falls back down, we're going to get an equally fast drop from $1.20 to $1.13. So, and Bitcoin's going to do an equal drop right back down to 62,991. If this doesn't hold 64,865. And then XLM. So I said, little upset that I didn't get the very top of XLM, but I'll never complain to myself for making $400 on XLM and not having to lose my money. This is the point. You never get the top, you never buy the bottom, but if you can do it when you're gaining profit every single time. And yeah, I cost myself $100 today on Doge because of the in and out bullshit. Like 130 actually. But that's, you know, that's it is what it is, because if I wouldn't have did what I did, you know, Doge is down 9% still. It's rallied a little bit. I mean, this was all the way down to 23.50. So, I mean, there's going to be some opportunities here if these things hold. I'm just saying, if these can come up and they do show some support and use a support zone, because typically you're not just going to bounce here and not come back down and retouch. You always get that double bottom that shows you that strength. We had a somewhat of a fake one right here, but you see how it expanded out. This is what's going to end up happening, and it's either going to hold it or it's going to fall right through with all of these. And right now, the one that's making me salivate, I talk about a lot of them, but I have a love affliction with ZIL. And to get this opportunity again, if ZIL falls back down and holds a 9.6 double bottom, knowing it didn't make its run yet, oh my lord. This could have been a blessing in disguise for Bitcoin to dump like this, because ZIL has filled a lot of its gaps now. And it never made its run. Let's face it, ZIL's been doing this right before a run every single time. And then it pops up and makes a run. If this bounces and does what it needs to do here, ooh, it's going to be hard pressed just for me to buy anything else, probably but ZIL. I just, for some reason, my gut keeps telling me, if all things are equal, just take ZIL. It's so undervalued. It's either that or I would finally bite the bullet and just be like, hey, DGB. But we should also know when DGB makes its run, Bitcoin always dumps after. So that sucks. But I mean, DGB almost came right back down to support. It's crazy how the lines are time tested. They hold up time after time after time. You know, it's just, that's why I have them spread out the way I do. They fall through certain levels. And isn't it funny how it held my levels, and then when it falls through, it falls to my next level, or at least right within the vicinity. So there's a lot to watch. We're looking for this to double bottom. That's that simple. Because if this doesn't double bottom, you would come through again and have to find. I don't know if we're going to necessarily come through this level. I think if I had to put my money on it, this would be the bounce level. If it's going to bounce. If Bitcoin falls through this even more, you know, if it falls through this level, you're going to 60,000. I don't know if it's ready to retest 60,000. I think that 62,991 is a perfect retest of what used to be the old resistance that it finally broke through and now is support. You couldn't play it out any better. So if it holds this, expect a massive run up. Stay blessed.